From LALATE headquarters in Santa Monica, this is Afternoons LALATE.
It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA with great, exciting news about your fourth stimulus check update, your fifth stimulus check update, and your third stimulus check update. Third stimulus checks that have been unpaid are coming out in the sixth wave, confirms IRS 24 hours ago. That's that $1,400 third stimulus check. Away we go. Meantime, fourth stimulus check, that monthly stimulus check that could pay you the biggest payout you've ever seen on this channel, is happening. The Senate and the House members that want to give you those monthly stimulus checks suddenly have the two items they need. And in this recording, I'm going to show you those two items that came to fruition this week. And guess what? There's a third one happening this afternoon. As the Federal Reserve says he's going to continue to support stimulus next week. I'll have all that breaking details happening just minutes ago. Meantime, when we look forward to September with fifth stimulus, boy, SSI reform would pay you the biggest amount of benefits you've ever seen on this channel. Also, I have big news about a major grant, which we've been tracking for over several weeks, is about to go live in less than 12 hours from now. Really exciting news. Big updates about the student loan debt forgiveness, the $2,400 of SSI, the wealth tax, and a lot of other things like the $6,000 from Ron Wyden for my PUA viewers. It's a big afternoon with big exciting news. I'll have big updates about capital gains tax, whether it's happening or not, and what happened with Wall Street and why crypto took a dive. It's a big afternoon, and it starts right now. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It's a big afternoon of Afternoons LA as we go into a Friday late afternoon, and exciting details about those monthly stimulus checks, those four stimulus checks that would be the single biggest payout to any viewer of this channel. They are happening, and they now have not one, not two, but four items pushing them to the finish line. I have all the details in this recording. But if you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're approaching our 1-year anniversary, and what a week to do it with incredible great news from fourth to third to fifth stimulus and those standalone items. I'll be going over all of them right now. Also, like this video and consider becoming a member. And I might be in the live chat, so say hi. Let's get to the breaking details, starting off the bat. First, the third stimulus. Great news from IRS, as a sixth wave of third stimulus checks of $1,400 have gone out. And congratulations, those are coming by direct deposit and also by mail checks. All right, let's go to fourth stimulus. Fourth stimulus is singularly the biggest payout that viewers of this channel have ever had. And while you may have looked at 2020 in the rearview mirror and said, I could hardly get money from this government in 2020, 2021 is a new year. And as you look forward to September, before I get to fourth stimulus in a second, understand this president's prepared to pay $24,000 a person, but it's not for you. It's for children starting in September. So don't worry about the push for $8,000 for you. It dwarfed in comparison to what the president wants to pay other people this fall. The great news starting off the bat is that now Congress has not one, not two, but four items pushing for those four stimulus checks to go to the finish line. First, how much, when, how does this happen? I'll be going over all those details starting right now. Those four stimulus checks would come under the fourth stimulus package when it lands into the House and Senate. The president's not going to put it in there. The Republicans are not going to put it in there. The senators who are Democrats and the congressmen who are House members of the Democrats are going to put it in there. Who gets it? You do. If you make less than $75,000, you do. If you're a household of four or less, you do. And if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, rural benefits, you get these monthly stimulus checks. Incredible great news. So you're wondering, how do you get them? What's involved? How much? What are the parameters and what's at issue? Let me go over all those details. First, the stimulus checks would be monthly, but the amount of months could differ if you're talking about House members or Senate members. The House members want to give you a stimulus check for pandemic plus 1 year. So the pandemic, 6 months more. They want to give you 6 more months plus an additional year. 18 months of stimulus checks under the 4th stimulus package. The senators want to give you stimulus checks to December, which would amount to 6 checks. But while the senators want to give you less checks, hold up, because there's actually potentially a lot of deliciousness involved in there. The House members are progressive. The senators are moderates. The senators and the House members, what are their monthly checks? Let's compare. House members, $1,000 after the first month, $2,000 the first month. But the senators, the monthly check amount is unknown, but word on the street says it's this amount. That those senators want to pay you 6 months of checks, July to December, of either $2,000 a month, $12,000, or $1,400 a month, $8,400. Yes, look at that money. It's enormous. Now, as I said at the top of the recording, it's not enormous compared to what the president wants to pay this fall. So don't feel stimulus concern because the president's willing to pay $24,000 to children in the 5th stimulus coming up in September. So your $8,000 stimulus pales in comparison. The amount of money you're looking at right now is for a single individual. It's not for several people. So if you're talking about a household, you times it by 4. If there's 4 people in the household, married couple, times 2. To which that viewer has asked me a lot of questions. Let's get to those questions right now. What month would the checks go out? July. What month would it be voted on? Speaker Pelosi and Leader Schumer say July 4th. How soon would you see the stimulus checks? Around July 14th. What month will we be the first month we get a check? July. How would we get the checks? Likely by the way Sanders and Harris did them in the 2020 bill. A debit card that would be replenished with money over month after month after month. Is it taxable? No. Does it count towards my benefits? No. Would it disqualify my benefits? No. More about those benefits later in this recording. But that is for stimulus. So what was the big news this week? What was the big news that signaled that forced stimulus is going to the finish line by reconciliation? 1, 2, 3, 4, well, almost 5 items. Number 1, we found out this week that the president's going to do 5th stimulus for $1 trillion. This is singularly a big reason why this one's going by recon. Because any president that thinks he can do $6 trillion of spending in 9 months, 6 months, 9 months against a Republican leadership, that means he absolutely thinks everything is going by recon. No Republican is going to give any president $6 trillion to spend in 9 months. That means everything's going by recon the whole rest of this year, not just even for stimulus. That was number 1. That revelation came out this week. Second, the GOP counterproposals showed that there is no bipartisanship ever for this forced stimulus. It has to go by recon. Incredible, great news for you. Earlier this week, this looked like the GOP forced stimulus counterproposal. No $2 trillion as the president wants, no climate as the president wants, and $680 billion for the infrastructure. Not what the president wants. That was the start of the week. That was not how we ended the week. We ended the week with the Republicans, after meeting with the president, actually reducing their offer. Looks like it really did well, that negotiations. Now coming in with a written offer lower, into the $500 billion. Not going to do bipartisanship. Away we go for forced stimulus by recon. What was the other data that came in this week, LA? Well, the unemployment claims. The unemployment claims showed us that this economy is not rebounding at a growth rate that is accelerating higher than the week before. Let me explain. We had 750,000 new unemployment claims 2 weeks ago. Then last week, we dropped 250,000 in 1 week. That caused a lot of concerns, thinking that we were speeding up in our recovery, that our recovery rate was going from here to then there, speeding up. Well, we are. The economic numbers for new unemployment claims came in this week. We were almost the same as the week before. We're slowing down in our rate of recovery. And then the continuing unemployment claims stayed almost the same. Then there's concerns of other reports coming out that there's a lot of inventory that's not shipping across the country. It's stuck at the ports, it's stuck in distribution channels, which would slow economic recovery. Also at issue is reports that says a lot of chip shortages and semiconductor shortages, which would also slow economic recovery. Bottom line is that that economic recovery we were worried was going to happen in the summer, not in the fall, is still staying in the fall. 8 trillion jobs are missing. Excuse me, not 8 trillion. 8 million jobs are still missing. And currently, 16 million people are still unemployed. And that number is not going to be restored by July. Finally, what's the other big news that happened today? Minutes ago, we learned from insiders that next week, the Federal Reserve, during its meeting, will announce they're not changing Fed policy. They think the economic recovery has not yet finished. It's not close to being finished, and the economy continues to need to be supported. Wow. Finally, we got all the support for forced stimulus to happen. So what could have been better than that this week? What could even have been better than that was SSI reform. SSI reform was announced this week for the first time in, 6 months, 7 months. I have been on this subject with you since the very beginning. In April of last year, when this channel launched and had just a couple hundred subscribers, I did a video. It's very hard to have a video go viral in the financial space. Very few people, if any, have ever had a video go to 3 million views. I wish it was 3 trillion. 3 million views. And it was about you. SSI and SSDI, Social Security and Railroad benefits. No one was talking about you. No one was talking about your issues. I talked about them and it went viral. Well, I've stayed on point with this subject matter, and this week we had the big turnaround. Over a dozen House members, whether it's Pete DeFazio in the Northwest, who's a great Democrat in the Northwest, or the Wydens and the Sanders and the Hare and the Warrens, or some other new faces, came in with an SSI reform that you are owed, and it signals that these items had not been reformed since the 1960s. I'm going to tell you generally what it is and keep it very simple. First, all your benefits would be raised up to a new number. Second, that would be your new number going forward. You would no longer be at the lower number. Third, every December you would be reassessed based upon a new benchmark. And a new benchmark, get ready for this, is inflation. Inflation, which is always 1 to 4% per year. So that means your benefits will always increase 1 to 4% in December for the new year, but being announced in the month of December every year. Great news. Then the asset allocation would be thrown away. Currently, I believe it's only $3,000 in total cash on hand you're allowed to keep. That would be thrown away, allowing you to keep more cash on hand. Then the income restriction thrown away. That's dating back to the 1960s. The asset allocations dating back to the 1984. The asset allocation 1962, thrown away. Basically saying if you want to work, you don't have to work, but if you want to work, you can work and stay on benefits. $1,000, $2,000 a month, incredible. And finally, the marriage exclusion thrown away. Really incredible, great news. So where would this occur? How would it occur? When will you see the money? Let me go over all those details right now. This would happen in 5th stimulus this September. We're currently doing 4th stimulus, which is called the American Jobs Plan or the Infrastructure Bill or the Recovery Act. That's what we're doing now. Getting finished in July, checks go out in July. What we're doing in September is called the American Family Plan, the AFP, the American Family Plan. That's with the children, with more checks to the children, yeah. But finally, the SSI reform, the writers of that letter said, we're putting this into the 5th stimulus. They literally said that. We're putting this into the American Family Plan. If you don't do it, we're putting it there. That's the exact language. It said, you promised this, Mr. President, during your campaign transition papers, during your campaign for president, after you won, you promised your transition papers. We're going to hold you to it. Wow. So when would you see the start? The American Family Plan, the 5th stimulus would start in September. And then, again, it would take 2 months because it's a reconciliation. So October, November, September, October, you would likely see the first check potentially hit in November in your hands. And away we go. Incredible great news. Incredible big great news. And I got more big news as a major grant that Americans have been waiting for is about to go live in less than 12 hours. SBA confirms more about the student loan debt forgiveness, more about the capital gains tax scare yesterday. What Bernie Sanders is doing today that makes no sense. And also that incredible great news from Ron Wyden, who wants to give you a lot more money. I'll have all those details and more coming up in about 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the community page and the programming schedule today on this channel. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.lalate.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join LALATE Daily for the excitement of the new LALATE live daily. The excitement starts on mornings LALATE at 9 a.m. Home LALATE returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons LALATE at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on LALATE. And the excitement continues later today on LALATE. With Evenings LALATE in 2 hours from now, that is a major broadcast, and there's a lot of major breaking news in that broadcast, so you want to tune in. And then finally, after that is LA Late Night, that irreverent show with Sirloin and Javita Light. And with that, thank you for joining me on LA Late Afternoons. How are you? If you have not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. We're trying to reach 400,000 subscribers, just a little bit away. So hit that subscribe button. Love to have you part of this family. Also like this video. And if you've not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, Calcino VIP. Let's try to do 3,000 likes. Wow, really exciting big news as a major grant's about to go live in less than 12 hours. The Shuttered Venue Grant, which is not just for venues, has been delayed because computer malfeasance at SBA, and now they got the computers working, not the scars, and suddenly it's going live. SBA sent out the notices today. I got it. I hope you got it as well. And that notice indicates the Shuttered Venue Grant will open tomorrow. It applies to more than just venues. Go to sba.gov to learn more about it now. The remainder $10,000 grant is open, and people are getting the invites. If you applied in February for that increase, you may be stuck in a vortex. Other people have gotten that money. Don't worry. They know about the vortex. They're getting into it. The $5,000 EIDL grant has not gone live, but the business grant of the PPP is gone live under that new executive order. Then Senator Ron Wyden. Wow. So he has that $6,000 that he wants to give you. This is in addition to everything else that I've been detailing on this channel today. This is incredible relief that works out of the box, thinks out of the box. And how does this work? It's $250 a week for 6 months if you're a PUA person. Remember, PUA, FPUC, PEUC, eviction moratorium, mortgage forbearance, all going away in September. Ron Wyden wants to pay you that money. And that would be a lifetime benefit as often as you need. Need it this year, need it next year. Would it slide into forced stimulus? I think he's going to slide it in there. I think he's going to slide it in there. Something that should not be slid into forced stimulus was the nonsense that came from Bernie Sanders today. A bill from Bernie Sanders that saw no light of day 3 years ago. And today he introduced a bill that, or today or yesterday, he introduced a bill with the other major proponent for multiple stimulus checks on the first fourth stimulus package. I don't particularly like someone doing a bill that makes no sense like this in advance of us getting forced stimulus, because it just makes the push for forced stimulus look as though the persons behind it don't know what they're doing. Bernie Sanders introduced a bill that is completely illogical. How does this work? It would basically tax a person who is potentially low income that has, let's say, a Tesla share of stock, buys it and then sells it, and he would tax that person, take the tax on that money, and then give that money to a rich person who makes $125,000 a year to pay for that rich person's kid to go to college. Excuse me? Yeah, it doesn't make sense. This is why Elizabeth Warren always makes sense, and sometimes Bernie Sanders doesn't make sense. Bernie Sanders says that we should help people who make six-figure put their kids through college. Not says Elizabeth Warren. She says when we're taxing people, we tax billionaires. We don't start taxing people who make less than a certain amount of money to get people who make six figures of money. It's Bernie, yeah. So is this bill going to see light of day? No, but it just bothers me that every time that someone signs for SSI reform and signs for MSC and signs for really good stuff, comes out with something that just is... Even if you dress it in teal, it doesn't look good. All right, so let's turn to the other items that are heating up that are really good. Elizabeth Warren next week will have a big conference, and that big conference will be about her wealth tax. Thank goodness that's about tax upon billionaires, not tax upon $600,000 people and that six-figure people. And her wealth tax bill is incredible good news because wealth tax was what she had proposed during the campaign trail for $2,400 of SSI and STI. That excitement heats up next week. Meantime, what happened to student loan debt forgiveness? A new report out today signals that print media now realizes that student loan debt forgiveness letter has been forgotten and is now insanely late, 1 week late from Miguel Cardona. The president ordered Miguel Cardona to produce that letter a week ago about whether he can forgive student loan debt by executive order. He can't. Obama did it. Trump did it. Elizabeth Warren has told Biden you can do it. Chuck Schumer has told it. Just, everyone's telling him. And so that letter is now a week late. Now, don't fret. People still want student loan debt forgiveness. It's just not particularly clear where the letter is. I mean, Sir Lloyd may have devoured it, but, that's just facetious. So that is also heating up. What else is heating up? Well, there was a real web of illogicalness, I guess you would say, that started yesterday, continued into today, and could be felt across middle America, mainstream America, your home, and Wall Street over the weeks to come. And it should never have happened. What happened? There's a thing called capital gains tax, which means if you buy something and sell something, you pay on the profit. Buy a car, resell a car, pay on the profit. Buy a stock, sell the stock, pay on the profit. Buy a table at the swap meet and sell it on eBay, pay on the profit. You pay for you pay a tax on the profit you make. Currently, that tax bracket that tax rate is 20% capital gains. But yesterday, a Bloomberg report came out that the president wants high 40, almost 50% capital gains taxes next year. Oh boy. The timing of this report could not be any worse than it was. Why? Because we're trying to get forced stimulus done. And forced stimulus has corporate taxes change, which no one has a problem changing corporate taxes a few percent. That's not a problem. The problem with doing it now, the story about capital gains, is that forced stimulus has other taxes the president will change. And he's not told us what those other taxes are. Reports say that he wants to increase inheritance tax, which is not good because inheritance tax affects everyone, even middle-class people. Your grandma dies, she leaves you a Honda Accord that's worth $12,000, you have to pay inheritance tax on it. So it's just, that's how it works. And he's not been clear. The press secretary has been evasive every time I ask what taxes are involved in the forced stimulus. And the reports out of Politico says the president has not even made a determination. So with that, we had that great report yesterday that said the president's considering destroying capital gains and putting it at nearly 50% next year. Wall Street was horrified. Let me explain their reaction. And let me explain what I said last night and what happened shortly thereafter. I told you on a special broadcast last night of Coin LA that returned after Sirloin and Javita Late on LA Late Night, that doing something like that, talking about killing people with massive capital gains tax, could cause people to sell things now to have a lower tax burden before next year. People would not normally sell now because they're worried about what the president's going to do to them next year. Well, that's what happened. Wall Street went down significantly yesterday. Today was relatively flat, so it didn't really rebound from it. The press secretary said, we're up. We're not up. Wall Street was flat today. It did not rebound. It was flat. And guess what also happened? I don't want to say the number wrong, but it was enormous. I think it was 200, yeah, it was $200 million of cryptocurrency evaporated. People sold. People got scared. You don't do this when we're talking about changing things. If you want to change things, modify them. Now, here's how it got actually worse. What actually got worse was a Morgan Stanley report came out later today that said, you know what? He's never going to get 40% or 50% of corporate capital gains. He'll raise it he'll be able to get a few more percent up from 20 to 25%. And that's why Wall Street settled down. But that's not good for this president because it doesn't look good to try to bite away at capital gains at an insanely illogical, almost Nancy Pelosi wacko number of 50%. And then suddenly have Goldman Sachs say, you're not going to get it. You'll be happy if you get 25%. Everyone else calm down. And that's really what happened today. It's on top of Bernie Sanders with his taxing, and it's also on top of a week in which we learned that he wants to spend $6 trillion between now and September, and wants to spend $24,000 on children, 17 young. You want to ease into things, and this was not a week to ease into things. He just came in a little bit too fast, so just slow it down. Meantime, why was he even releasing or telling insiders what he wants to do next year? I mean, can we just get through this month? Can we just get to recon now? Get the recon now. Send out the stimulus checks in July. We all get our stimulus checks. We all go to the casino. We cash our stimulus checks. We get our beautiful SSI reform in the fall. We get our EI deal money. We're all good. And then in January, then we can deal with what you're doing then. But why scare us like that? And that's how the week ended. But the impact of this will certainly continue into next week because there is the news of the fear of what was talking about with capital gains has carried further than the Morgan Stanley Goldman Sachs report, meaning the follow-up report that says it's not going to happen did not get picked up in enough place of coverage, broadcast news coverage, that people didn't see the fix-it report. They only heard that he's really coming after you on big capital gains taxes. Yeah, don't do that. It's just not a good political move because it doesn't bode well. And it doesn't bode well as we understand that recon will start for forced stimulus. And you don't want to have in the back of your mind, and you're also doing this later this year, and then you're doing capital gains taxes last year. What's going on here? So there we are. Tomorrow, the excitement starts with that Shuttered Venue grant about to go live. Also coming up later today is the excitement of Evenings LA. That's going to be a big fun broadcast. Meantime, a Turkish leader is allegedly on the run as a big website that does cryptocurrency out of Turkey shut down, and $2 billion is missing. Yeah, it's just one of those days. It's just one of those days. Where do you think he is? Drop in the comments. Where do you think the Turkish? Where do you think that? Where do you think that $2 trillion of it's so much money. $2 billion of crypto has disappeared to. Getting a new hairstyle? I don't think so. But here is the big money that is really at issue. Forced stimulus is going to happen. If everyone else, like Bernie Sanders and the Capital Gains Department at the White House, keeps their mouths closed and stop talking about other stuff for next year or 3 years from now, if everyone else keeps their mouth closed, we'll be fine. We will be fine. In a week in which we had really all the push to get forced stimulus out the door. You don't want someone talking about stuff that just makes no sense. And, we've seen stuff that made no sense last year with San Francisco hairstyles. So, with that, thank you for joining me on a big Afternoons LA broadcast. I will be back with you on Evenings LA coming up next. That Evenings LA broadcast is part of the continuing coverage on this channel today. And I can't wait to see you on that broadcast. It's coming up in 2 hours from now. Catch me on Evenings LA coming up next. And if you stay on this show, it will teleport you to Evenings LA right after the show's over. Then after that is LA Late Night. If you've not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. Also, like this video. And if you're not become a member, consider becoming a member. Purple Hawk, Purple Power, or Calcino VIP. Stay informed, stay focused, and stay with LA for more.